Hi everyone, welcome back to Drinks at Dana's. Today is a bit of a Christmas special. We're recording this very early on Christmas Eve. Well, very early in the UK, very late in the US on Christmas Eve for Jess, and Chris has already had her Christmas Eve on in Australia.
Opened my presents and everything.
So we're here today to discuss episode 306, Questions for the Universe. I have many questions.
I have many questions.
Yeah, I think we just get into the episode, and mainly Alice, Sophie, and Shane episode. Everybody else was bit players.
I know, it was such a waste, I thought. It wouldn't have been that hard to get the rest of them to somehow come.
Yeah, but I think the reason that I did actually like it was because it was so much Alice and Shane, and that's kind of what I'm here for.
Yeah, but when I saw it, I don't think I would call that a musical episode. It had a musical element in the middle, but it wasn't, the whole episode wasn't musical. It had maybe 60% of it was a musical, and the other 40% was just an episode.
But the other 40% is what I really liked the beginning with Alice and Shane. I thought it was good, and I thought there was some good lines too. Alice comes home in her pink Adidas tracks. Which, if I looked like Alice, I'd wear one of those too.
The scene was so hot and distracting that I forgot for a second that she was at Alice's, and then when I saw Alice walk in the gate, I was like, "Oh my god, is Shane having an orgy at Alice's?" What the hell?
Yeah, that
I
is
really like that.
That is messed up.
I know. I don't think that Shane would do it to Alice.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of disrespectful. I don't know. I just feel
her house was trashed. They were it was picking up after a rager. They're picking up bottles of booze and collecting trash and underwear and ugh. I mean,
but it makes you think how long was Alice gone for?
Two people having sex in your bed during a party is one thing. Please don't. But to have
on her velvet couch,
of people on her velvet sofa or whatever, it's yeah.
Yeah, I think that couch
cleaned or replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah, just she's rich. Throw the whole couch out. I really like this scene. I thought it was good. And even the cleaning up where Shane was or Alice said to her, "Oh, I'm throwing these away," and she's like, "Oh, those were Bridget's," and she's like, "Oh, you know their names."
And also that you remember that those were Bridget's undies.
I thought there was loads of just great Alice and Shane moments, and one thing that I always think, Alicia obviously has such great comedic timing, and she is very, I think, underappreciated because she is so good that it just comes off so, I know this is the absolute thing they're going for with acting, but realistic. It just works well with their chemistry as well, as friends.
Yeah, and once again, we encounter the theme of this season, which is therapy.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, I was why pay money for therapy when you can go out to the desert and get high? Everyone's gonna have their issues solved magically.
Honestly, I felt like I was at work for the first few well, not the first few minutes of the episode, but the subsequent scenes. I'm this is every conversation in my office. I swear ayawaska comes up all the time, which, by the way, I work in the drug industry, I suppose you could say. So this is
that's your
common conversation. I know several people who have gone on these retreats and done ayahuasca, and
what have they said about it?
Yeah, positive, negative?
Oh yeah, I've only heard positive, actually.
That's good.
Did they ask questions to the universe and come away with answers?
Well, yeah. I mean, most people I'd say probably most of the people I know who do it are pretty spiritual people anyway, and other people are just kind of I'm into any sort of drug, so I'll try anything once. Yeah. But you got to be willing to puke and crap yourself and all these other things all these terrible things that happen, but apparently the mental effects are worth it for some people. I don't really want to examine myself that closely, so I'll pass on the drug therapy. But yeah, the do it for the drugs.
Yeah, that was
funny. That was good. But I guess that's kind of how Alice convinces Shane to go. Is you need, what did she say? 10 years of therapy. She's like, well, or 20. You need 20 years of therapy.
Yeah,
yeah, true.
Or a silent
therapy.
retreat.
Oh yeah, or 10 minutes in a silent retreat. One or the other.
That'll do it.
I really like this episode, actually.
I was surprised how much I like, because I don't like musicals like at all, but I was surprised. I
As a
thought it was
musical
good.
episode, it wasn't fantastic. I mean, there's
I
for
didn't
someone
think it
who
was.
does enjoy musical episodes of TV shows, there have been some great ones out there. The actual musical part wasn't great, but the way that it moved the story along, I enjoyed. And
Yeah.
also things that we keep asking for, like Alice and Shane together, you know,
Mhm.
for a lot. And having the OGs and like Gen Q, I feel like these characters haven't interacted much at all since like
Sophie and Shane have never had a conversation. Like, I'm sure of it.
so it felt weird, but also like, hey, this is what we wanted. Like we wanted
Yeah.
them to interact more.
Yeah, and that's why it's, I don't know, I think it's crazy that, because there wasn't even like a previously on the L Word, and that I don't think outside of like the Tess and Shane thing at the end and Finley and Sophie at the end, like not you know, like Dana's not popping up in the next episode, like a lot of stuff was just kind of fun and like there. So there has to be some sort of irony that the one episode that's supposed to be very standalone and fillerish becomes like the episode where we're actually getting stuff that we wanted. And you know, people, there obviously, there's always going to be a mixed reaction to something. I've talked about this tons of times, because people will see like their small group of echo, you know, like echo chamber, whatever you want to call it, but you normally interact with the same people all the time, and most of the time you're interacting with those people because you're liking their comments and you all kind of have the same opinion. But somewhere like, you know, even Drinks at Dana's comments, like my channel has 1 million people that come through in a month. That's a lot of opinions. And every episode it's actually really funny the way the comments come through. Like sometimes on my phone they'll be coming through, and one will come through, and yesterday it happened where someone had written on YouTube after I posted the review, somebody wrote, "This was amazing, I loved the episode, I cried when Dana come back." And the next comment that came through was, "I hated this episode."
I saw a few people write that they cried in the episode. I was like, really?
Yeah, and I always put like a poll and stuff up because I find it absolutely fascinating. As much as I enjoy doing this YouTube, I secretly like just love the analytics side and seeing what everybody thinks and how people interpret things so differently. But I will say, I think for the most part I saw way more positive comments than dislikes.
What about you, Chris? Do you disagree?
With
Like
with
overall, was it a good episode?
It's hard to tell because the episode 5 was so crappy that I feel like anything coming after that would be good.
True.
I just feel like anything after that would be like, wow, that was quite refreshing, really. But I just, by itself, if we took episode 5 out of the equation, it was just like you're just judging it by the better episodes, then it was just an average episode for me, because I'm like, I'm not into the musical part. The musical part was a bit underwhelming for me. Shane was one of the main players in the musical element, and she didn't even sing. She didn't do much. Like her interaction was quite limited. I mean, she had a storyline in the musical part, but it was just, I don't know, it was weird.
Although
then,
Shane dancing was not something I knew that I was like missing from the L Word, but we've had 2 episodes now of like a Shane dance sequence, and like I'm here for it.
I literally wrote down Shane should not be dancing. She's not enjoying herself, but she's been forced to do it.
Really? I interpreted the opposite. I'm like, does she have a musical theater past in high school that I'm not aware of? Like, I'm like racking my brain
so
from like all the
funny.
Kate history that we know. Is this something we know about her? Like arts school? Like,
No, she did drama school in New York.
See, I got lots of people saying that, both those things. My kind of answer to the people who were saying like, were being like maybe a bit more negative about like the dancing, they are actors. They're not like professional singers. Well, Leisha was, but like singers or dancers. And I think they did great, because
You know who was a professionally trained singer though?
the answer is always Gigi.
It's always Gigi.
I've been asked excessively to make a shirt with that on.
It's always about Gigi.
I don't know the timeline of like when they knew Gigi was like Yeah, like she's not coming back.
Like gone.
Oh yeah, they'll have known, yeah. Because that was all decided probably around like this time last year.
Oh.
And then they didn't write these episodes until I want to say like April, May-ish. Yeah, 6 was probably even a bit later than that.
What a waste. How awesome would Gigi?
Oh, what a fucking waste. Any episode without Gigi is a waste.
Yeah,
sad.
I liked the pared down cast though. I mean, we got the 3 of them for the bulk of the time, and then a couple other people for, a
Like a
significant
second.
portion of the time, and then the others were like blink and you'll miss them, and I was fine with that.
But that's the thing. I do think this cast is too big. I think there's too many people that like even taking out my bias against like bias towards, I guess, the OGs. I feel like you just can't connect with the Gen Qers a lot because they don't get a lot of like if there was fewer of them, you could spend more time, like the way we got to see Sophie a lot more in this episode, and I liked her probably the best in this episode that I've ever liked her, because she was with Alice and Shane, and even like, I mean, obviously I'm gonna say it even though it goes without saying, like Rosanny was fucking amazing, like she's such a great singer, but I even loved like some of her like reactions to like Alice and Shane and stuff, and they were very subtle, but it just felt like, oh, okay, we're seeing a bit more of what's going on, because I don't know, these little like bit, like I have no connection to like Micah and Maribel and stuff, and every time they come on I just feel like they're sucking time from the other people, because it's a part, I don't like their storyline too, but I just feel like we don't even have time to know them, and they only bring them out to be like, oh, they need to get their couple of minutes this week.
Yep.
Like they don't give them any. I like the actors. They're like, don't get me wrong, I like the actors, but I don't feel like they give the actors anything to do.
I think why I like this episode is because both Gen Q and like the OG, we don't get a lot of like character introspection, like the actual characters are built, like, and so to actually do this kind of like deep dive into what is actually in Shane and Alice and Sophie's minds, like what are they thinking, what are their their fears, their hopes, whatever, it's like it's always very surfacey,
yeah, like superficial.
Yeah, but all the things that we got shown from each of them was something I could have told you. Like, could have told you Alice is constantly thinking about Dana. Shane is always fucking around and figuring out why she blows shit up. Sophie is the world revolves around her.
Sophie's made no sense to me whatsoever, but we'll get to that.
That whole thing didn't make any sense, but yeah.
It was like a Helena, like we had a personality
transplant. Oh yeah, personality transplant. Yeah. Yep, definitely.
Whatever. So let's say the questions that they write down of like what they want to examine about themselves, the questions for the universe. Alice's question is, will I ever find the one? Shane's is, why do I blow shit up? And Sophie is Finley right for me? Which the second she wrote that, I'm like, well, we know the answer is going to be no. If you're questioning it, yeah, that's a bad sign.
When they got there, I did really like Alice's little, oh, it's been a culty year for me. Because again, those are just like little ways that you're reminding, call back to the episode 2, like something that happened this season, we know. But I have one timeline gripe this week, so I need to get this out. And we're going backtracking here a bit.
To make a little noise for it, like do 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 do. Ash's timeline gripe.
Okay, future Ash, when editing this, make a timeline jingle. It's Christmas. I'm gonna have lots of time on my I'm gonna make myself a little timeline jingle. Drinks at Dana's investigates the L word timeline glitches. So when Alice is convincing Shane to go, she's just like, oh, did Ivy not tell you? She moved to New York. Okay.
I know. That was like a whole Marina thing. Oh yeah,
everyone like, stay with me here. Everyone stay with me.
Last night? Like
yes, it had to have been, because episode 4 was Halloween. Episode 8 is Thanksgiving. there's only a max of like 3 weeks in between those two holidays, and there's 4 episodes. So each episode is taking place over the course of maybe at max a week. And we know that episode 5 is, you know, like past Halloween. Episode 7, Fletcher's album party, is happening, so it's a few weeks away. So episode 6 had to have taken place literally like 10 days after Halloween. Ivy has had the relationship with Shane, and then immediately gone, applied for jobs, got a job, packed up, moved across the country. As someone who has moved a lot, moved back and forth from America to the UK 6 times in my life, that doesn't just happen. You don't just like snap your fingers and you're like, oh.
Maybe she lived in a trailer and didn't have much stuff, so she just put it in her car and drove off.
Possibly, but still across the country, that's a long drive with a small child.
Yeah, and to just even get a job, because she would want some sort of security, because she has a small, anyway. Just timeline jingle. I'm sure there'll be a lot coming up, a lot of timeline jingles.
But as soon as they said that, I was like, well, I guess she's not coming back.
Yeah. They're like closing the door on
that was her being closed out. At least they did close the door on her and didn't leave it open.
Kehlani's on her world tour.
Yeah, like like she might still be working on the Ellis show, we don't know.
So we'll go through the music stuff in like chunks, so that we just talk about the whole scene, to all the scenes together, so that we're not like, because it's a lot of skipping back and forth. So we'll start with Shane, and Shane was transported to 1940s League of Their Own.
I did like Shane's sailor outfit.
I liked the inclusive sailor outfit. Sailor men and women and all different sizes. And
yeah, that's true. I did notice that.
And Tess is like I'm going to say pinup girl, but that's not right.
The
but
bombshell.
Songstress.
So
the thing is, the closed captioning was not working on my Showtime feed, so I didn't catch a lot of the lyrics, which I feel like could have been telling. So yeah, if anyone has any insight into what they were singing about besides the obvious.
I thought they would have posted, like, I thought they would have posted like at least some of the songs or like the lyrics or something, because I'm sure people are trying to
decipher them.
So Shane's dream sequence, hallucination trip, whatever you want to call it, if you will, is basically her chasing after Tess, and
while other girls are chasing after her.
Yeah.
Every single storyline from the OG show.
Yeah. There was a moment that I don't know whether it was meant to be like meta or whatever, but I feel like when Shane was chasing Tess and she was like on the roof, and like that group of like 4 people or 4 women were like chasing Shane, I felt like when she was like, they always find me, that she was maybe talking about like L-word fans.
I almost thought when she got to the roof there would be that, what was it, 13 Reasons Why or whatever that sign was. The sign.
One I prepared earlier.
Oh my god, you've got a little baby one.
One of my subscribers made this and sent it to me, and I have like a couple of them, but there's one
Jess
of the
is staring
She-Marcus.
blankly. I think you might have to explain it to her.
Remember when for anyone just listening, I'm holding up a little badge version of the 17 Reasons Why sign with Alice, Bette, and Shane on it. When they stole the sign, Bette stole it in season 4 for Jodie, but secretly her and Tina were like subtly like flirting with each other. And then when Tina was in the auction, the Kiki Smith auction, her little paddle had 17 on it.
Yeah.
I
vaguely remember that. Well, I was thrown because I said 13 Reasons Why, which is like a teen suicide.
I know,
book.
I don't really remember the number.
I'm like, I didn't think she's going to jump off the building in like a I'm ready to die kind of way. I was like, what?
No.
Sorry.
But yeah, that's what I thought we would see on the roof.
I mean, that's the gist. To me, there's not much else to say about the musical, Shane's musical portion. I mean,
yeah,
she wasn't even singing. She didn't even sing it, backup singing or anything. Like, there was no singing. I think that maybe they tried and they went, no.
No.
I mean, yeah, she's basically chasing after Tess, and that's the story.
Yeah, but she was the only one while they were like starting to get high where she was like, oh, I hope this doesn't turn into a musical. Next minute.
Sophie is in like I don't know, like a Leave It to Beaver
It
sort
was
of.
very WandaVision for me.
Yeah. Oh
It
yeah,
was
that's a good.
literally
Yeah.
like it was ripping off WandaVision with the audience
And
cheering
it
and
also like ripped off the Shane and Paige thing from the OG
oh yeah,
when they did that.
I forgot about
I tried to.
that.
So we get the show title, and it's the Sarah Finley Show, like giant letters. But that's like the theme of, Sophie's experience was Finley's name, massive headliner, and like little teeny tiny Sophie. So basically, we're saying that like it's the Finley Show. She's the main star, and Sophie's barely anything. Which I would have said it was the opposite.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I was confused because I was like, what?
Me too.
I was like, since when has Finley ever treated Sophie like this? Or ever
Never.
said that for a second at the beginning of the episode when Finn was like, oh, I bought a car, that it seemed like Sophie was like, oh, yeah, I can stay if you want. Like, oh, I'll give up my thing for your thing if you want. But then was like, oh, no, that's okay. Like, you go on your trip. But they made it seem like, oh, Sophie's willing to give up her life for someone else to like conform to their wishes.
I could see it with Dani, but like,
Dani.
hello, that's like what they fought about and what they kind of broke up over. But
Yeah.
like, I've never seen it with Finley. I mean, Finley was kind of like the little puppy following her around, like worshiping her.
Yeah. And didn't Soph at one point say to Finley, like, oh, I could never be myself with Dani, but I can with you?
Well,
Yeah, I think she said those exact words.
Exactly.
It makes sense.
None of it makes sense.
Well, especially because they were best friends. And so it's like, if there's anyone you can be yourself with, and
Exactly.
Yep.
yeah. So the whole thing was like just created out of thin air. Like it
was like they didn't know what to do for her, so they just were like, oh, let's just make it like she feels like she's not herself in her life.
Yeah, which they've never ever shown us.
No. But are we
previously.
supposed to now believe that she's been pretending to be someone this entire time? We don't actually know who Sophie is. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, because she's always been with Dani or Finley. Like we've never seen her without.
And wasn't her song like, I'm finally putting myself first? And I'm like, bitch,
Yeah.
you always put yourself first. Like,
I know, I thought that too.
yeah. Like the entire show is literally being you putting yourself first.
Yeah. Like, okay, at least she can sing. So
yeah,
she
was. The voice was great.
But yeah, some of the lyrics I caught on that was, I've been through hell and back. And then she says something about abandonment. And I'm like, is this about like her daddy issues?
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because when she started saying about the hell and back thing, I was like, have you though? Because I don't think you know what like hell is. Because let me tell you,
and Finley have both been through way more hell than she has.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like what? She has like an amazing job. Not like lives in out like she hasn't been through hell.
No. Unless there's been like a whole other like side of her life that the writers accidentally forgot to tell us about.
Yeah, like, her mom and grandma seem great. She's got a sister that she's close with. Like,
yeah, and her
you had to have done well in school to get that job.
Yeah, when she's saying it's all about me, my girlfriend was like, "Oh, yeah, that's Sophie's tag. That should be her tagline."
Yeah, but I didn't get this big like, oh, I was, this cocoon moth and now I'm breaking free into being a beautiful butterfly. It's like, you've always done whatever the hell you wanted to do.
Exactly.
Like, not cared
Flashback to literally breaking up like the fucking wedding to Dani, like in front of everyone that you know and love.
Yeah. So that whole thing, I didn't understand. And I was like already feeling bad for Finley like halfway through the episode.
We had that bit in the Sophie song where Dani and Micah marry, and like it breaks as if they're like filming in front of a live studio audience. And the Finley and Dani kiss was so random. Rise up, Fanny Nation.
No, it's not Fanny. Danley.
I was like, is this something Sophie's thought of? Or like, is it not supposed to be sexual at all? It's just supposed to be like, oh, these two people are
like randomly.
I think the writers just wanted to be able to use, like there's some writers that will go in and be like, oh, this will make great material for the promo or for the trailer. And they probably because last week I used it as the thumbnail of my trailer reaction and used it as the title, and it did really fucking well, like really well.
I figured they put it in because it was like a tester, like what they did with Dani and Gigi at the beginning, to be like, oh, I wonder if these two would, and then they would gauge the chemistry or whatever, and then be like, oh yeah. Or if it didn't work, they'd be like, oh nah.
But they can't really do anything because the episodes are already.
You see when you're filming it whether they have chemistry or not. I think.
I don't think they put that much thought into it.
No, and they would never put those two characters together. I mean, they would have to literally rewrite them from the ground up, which we know the L Word is totally fine doing. But no,
they can easily do that next week.
What? No, they can never be together. I think it was just Sophie's mind being like, these two people steal the limelight and like, you know, have all the drama. So Alice's musical number.
Yeah. She had like an 80s game show. Yeah, that when they were filming it, it was weird because they obviously like they were all in different ones, and we were getting like behind the scenes pictures quite a lot from the people who were the dancers and like the company that they were, because they shared loads on Instagram. And I thought the songs, everybody was going to be together and they were going to move through the decades. So I mean, this is a hit and miss. Like, it can't always be right, but that did throw me off a little bit. That I was like, why is it like? Because they had an extra that he posted something like, oh, I was dressed in the 40s yesterday and today I'm in the 80s.
Yeah, he might have been a backup dancer in all of them though.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. And so I was like, maybe they're like moving them through. That's what I thought was gonna happen, but it was slightly different.
I wonder if it was just a device to like help them write the songs, like, oh, it'll be easier if like, oh, let's write a 40s big band song, like, so now you already have something to like go off of.
Yeah, and like it's fun to do that with like hair and makeup and sets and things like that to make it a bit more fun.
Although I didn't think Alice's song was particularly like 80s or anything though. So
no.
But yeah, so her game show is the Name That Flaw game show, and pop pictures of all of her exes, and she has to say like what's wrong with them.
Yeah, but I was disappointed that they only went back as far as this season. Or no, like 2 seasons. And I was like, wow, it would have been so much more fun if you'd like had Uta, the vampire, or like the lady or whatever. And like
Gabby DeVoe
and like random people from her actual past instead of people that she was just with.
Yeah, that we have solid memory of.
I guess maybe like we're supposed to think that, Tasha should have been on there because like if we're supposed to think that like these are her most serious relationships.
That Twinkie guy was on there. Like who she was with for like a second.
Yeah, that was weird. I feel like instead of him, they should have had Tasha.
They should have shown people from the original show, especially because those are the people we don't have recent memory of. But also just in the sense of like marketing, like there's tons of people, believe me, they're in my comment section who are like every week, holy shit, there's this whole other show called the L Word. So maybe some people will have seen, oh, cool, that, like if they showed Tasha laughing or something, like somebody might have been like, I need to find out more about this lady. And
would have been even better if they actually had a thing where they walked out, like the actual actor.
That would have been great. That would have been
just
great.
Being like, what am I doing here? Like, it would be hilarious.
Oh, that would be so good. Why didn't they do that?
Because they didn't, I don't know, they're not that smart.
The problems, the flaws that she had with the people. Tom was too conventional and wanted to get married too fast. Taylor didn't like me enough.
So I guess she is gone.
Yeah, which again was just such a weird thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
Nat's flaw was Gigi. The answer is Gigi.
The answer is always Gigi.
The answer is always Gigi. Those bastards.
I was, at first I was like, yes, Gigi. And then I was like, whoa. I was like, is that seriously like Showtime / the L Word like making fun of the whole Gigi incident?
That's exactly what I said.
Like making fun of us now? And I was like, oh hell no, you fucking better not be like, and then I was like really pissed after that.
Because I was like live tweeting when I was first watching the episode, and that's the first thing I said before I even said, oh yeah, Gigi. I was like, was that a dig at us? Because I think it was.
It was, and very much so a dig at us.
Listen,
Name drop her in every episode now.
Yeah, it was almost like they were like,
stop fire everyone up.
Yeah, they were like, stop whinging about Gigi, because like, ugh.
We will never stop whinging. If this gets to season 10, I will still be here. Where is Gigi?
Yeah.
People are going to be like, it's been 8 years. Get over it.
You're going to be the Titanic lady. Yeah. It's been 86 years.
6 years. And Gigi's still missing. So we'll discuss the elephant in the room, our namesake.
Yeah.
The return.
I kind of wish I knew it wasn't. I kind of wish I didn't know that it was happening and been surprised.
Yeah, I don't know why. Because I've known that Dana was coming back, and I knew about
Miss
Max.
G.
Hi, G.
Hi, Gigi.
She's coming to discuss Dana.
She heard us say Dana.
She heard Gigi, and she's like, I'll be right there.
Yeah, we were talking about Gigi, your favorite. Yeah, she probably heard G and was like, they need me. They need my opinion. I knew about Dana, I knew about Max, and then there's another OG coming back as well. With other stuff, it's like news around the show, and obviously that's what my channel is all about. So that's why like I talk about things that are happening, that most of the stuff that comes out, she's like circling the computer.
I just saw a tail go past like Jaws.
And that's why I like, the whole point of my channel is to tell people things they don't know yet, and like I have people on set that are kind enough to share things with me. But I feel as if if I went on and was like, oh hey, Dana's coming back, like that's not really news, and that's just taking away from like the surprise. But then when I went on, so I have shut up, I haven't said anything, I have put like a few little hints out, and the same with the other person, but for them nobody knew for definite. And then when I logged in on Wednesday, they were like sharing pictures of the actual episode. So I was like, oh, well, everybody knows now. Most people found out that, most people that interact online anyway, found out that way. I don't know why they do that, because it's so much more fun for it to be like, I remember the Tina thing was just like, oh, this is so awesome. I hope they keep episode 10 person especially a secret, because out of the 3 that are returning this season, it's the person in episode 10 that I'm more excited about. But because I think that when you bring Dana back, she like, it's a dream and she's dead. Like we're not gonna find anything out that happened, in the intermediate. We're not gonna get any closure or anything out of that. Like, yes, it's fun, but I wish that they would bring back like Helena, that she's like my ultimate favorite to come back. But someone told me that they didn't even ask Rachel Shelley to come back this year, so I don't know whether it's like all to do with the Mia stuff or anything. I've been told a couple of different things with that, like about the OGs kind of being split on like how they resolved the Jenny storyline. And I know there was like the pants stuff with Kate and Leisha too, so I don't know why they wouldn't approach all the OGs and just say, hey, we'd love to have anyone back who would come back, and then go from there.
Yeah, send out a blanket thing to everyone that's ever been on the show, and then just like a fishing line, just see who comes in, like, and then because based on who says yes, you could easily write them in.
Yeah. My idea is that they should use the cold opens to like resolve storylines from the original. So, because then you're not having to like awkwardly fit an OG into an episode. You're not having to take away from the episode. But there's things like, why did Alice and Tasha break up? Why did Helena move? Like, Bette and Tina getting divorced? What happened with Kit? When was the last time Bette and Kit saw each other? You could have the cold opens, have the OG back, resolve those storylines. People would be so fucking excited that they would do all the marketing for you. And you're just, having like 2 or 3 minutes of a scene at the beginning of an episode, 5 minutes, say max. So you're not taking away a whole episode where like maybe Gen Q audiences who haven't seen the L Word like aren't interested in that like solves everything.
Yeah,
like you're literally getting everything fixed there, and having people be excited about getting not only the actors back, but also like finding out what the fuck happened. But anyway, so Dana does come back, and I did love the little stuffed cats.
Oh my god.
Do we have kids?
Missed the moment. She missed her moment. She would have been a
Oh,
great
Miss
actor
G.
to be on
Yeah.
set. She's trained. I mean, you've seen her. She's trained. She knows Bettina. I'm sure she could learn Alice Dana, and she could meow on command.
So to talk specifically about Alice and Dana's song,
Like there was just the one line where Alice sounds horrified of like, do we have kids?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's another clue you shouldn't have been with Nat because you could not handle children.
Oh yeah.
Like this is something you should know about yourself and not be with someone who wants
But
children.
like it's supposedly set in the 80s, her little dream sequence, and Alice looks really cute in 80s, but then Dana's outfit didn't look 80s at all. It just looked like if Dana was Alice's mum in the 80s and she was playing the mum, like the mum
Your
Yeah.
mom
character.
had like an office job in the 80s or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Alice wanders off and starts singing while Dana's like sleeping there. I'm like, wow, you brought back Dana to have her just lay there? I'm like, great. And I thought it was a waste that like they brought back Dana and didn't have anyone else interact with her except for
Yeah.
Alice. I was like, they could have easily had the whole cast in it.
The fucking complaint that I always have. They did the
Like
same.
again,
with-
they separated Alice into her own thing.
Alice
Oh.
is like all up in the feels, and she figures that since Dana's there, that means Dana's her soulmate, and that Alice should just give up because she won't find anyone else. And Dana tells her that she did miss it, but not with me. You have to let me go.
I feel like they were talking to the L Word fans again here about the show. Let the OG go.
Oh my god, yes. I didn't think about that, but now I'm like, oh, now I don't like them. I like them less.
I'll never let go.
let it go. Let it go. There's you
I'll
with your
never
box
let
of
go.
memorabilia. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to. I just don't take it for. Okay, there you go.
No, Titanic again. We've talked about Titanic a lot today. I'll never let go, Jack. I'll never let go. Except I'll never let go. Eileen, Jennifer.
But yeah, the second she says that it's someone you've already been with, and
Oh,
who
as soon as
kind
you
of
said that,
knows
and I
me,
was like,
like,
it better not be
yes!
Tom.
I love Tom. I was so very excited.
No,
The
I'm like,
two
that's not
reaction.
They were so good together.
I'm like, no,
I
that's
just
not
don't like
like
him because he's a dude.
no, but like, okay, they were together, they were okay, they were cute, but I still don't think out of everyone she's been with, he's the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I do.
Who
think
has
so,
she been with
yeah.
that's better?
Tasha. Tasha's
Okay,
better.
I would take Tasha or Tom.
I think that they're gonna have Tom come back. He's gonna give Alice like another idea or something, like about someone else. Because
Or he's
who-
going to be like, well, do you want to marry me? And she'll be like, wow.
Yeah. I really hope that they don't do. I mean, this is I wouldn't think another show would do this, but we know what we're dealing with here. I feel like they might be, oh, the one is secretly this cousin of Dana's that Alice has had this 20-year friendship with off screen that we've never seen before. Because I wouldn't
the
put
only
anything
way
past
that I
them.
would accept that is if the actress playing it would be Erin Daniels.
Like, it's so dumb though. Like, her only issue with Tom was that he wanted to get married, and like, you're literally on here looking for your soulmate and like wanting to
Yeah.
spend your life with
Yeah,
someone.
yeah.
Like, hello,
Well, no, I
the
don't think
dude
her
who wanted to
issue.
marry you, maybe.
It wasn't that he wanted to marry her. It was he wanted to marry her too fast. Yeah.
And she pushes people away. So yeah, her problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Not his.
But then that's going to be a waste if he's like back for an episode and then gone again.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which is what's
Or
happening.
wait, didn't you say Alice is missing in an episode?
Yeah, she's missing in episode 8.
So could it be that he comes back and they go off somewhere together?
I mean, yeah, technically, I guess.
But we don't. Do you think he's back later?
No.
So he's just
I
back
think
for that one episode.
I think he's just back for episode 7, yeah.
Yeah. Well, then that was a waste. A whole big deal of like, he's the one, dun, 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 and then he's gone.
I mean, but that's the thing. Like, I don't know that 100,000%. So I guess he could. And because like we know this season is supposed to be everybody finding the one. So maybe he does come back for the end.
So they all come out of
Wake
their
up.
ayawaska
They get
haze, whatever it's called. I
They
don't
get
know.
welcomed back. I like that. Welcome back.
Oh yeah. Did you notice that the aspect ratio changed too when we went into the musical?
Oh, I
When
should
they-
notice these things, but I didn't.
Yeah, when the white started and the three of them were dancing together, you could literally see the aspect ratio change, and then as they were like welcome back, it changed back to like the TV one. I put it in my video. Just doing my job.
So disappointed, Chris.
My job nobody asked me to do.
This is literally your day job for like 20 years.
Yeah, it was my day job.
So they come out and they all immediately are like, I have to leave and go home and
I have to like the universe has just answered my questions.
Well, Shane and Alice think Alice thinks that.
Oh yeah.
Yes. The almost kiss.
Yeah, where Alice is like, oh, you knew Dana? Maybe you're my person.
I've seen that so many times from the trailer, but I still laughed out loud.
The thing that's so funny for me is that they go for the kiss, and then as they're freaking out, like Shane leans into it and actually kisses her for a second. It's just like,
that was weird. I was like, well, Shane, why did you lean in?
Yeah, why?
Sophie's face was funny too. She was like,
her reaction was like,
what the fuck's going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave, which makes no sense because like they all came there on a bus together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How are they getting? Are they Ubering back from the desert?
Middle of nowhere. Continuity. Whatever.
They cannot like keep it together. They like please for the millionth time. Let me stop complaining about timelines and continuity and everything. Please just hire me. I will do all of this for you. I'm very cheap. I do this job for free. And I will keep track of it all. I will even bring my own whiteboard. I don't need anything else. Just Miss G, a whiteboard, and some markers. That's it. I'll bring my own ring light too.
I feel like that would be a funny behind the scenes side spin-off L Word show of like Ash the timekeeper.
Yeah, just me.
No, what are you doing? You were there last week. You can't be there again this week.
Can you imagine? Oh my god, that would be the best thing in the world if I was allowed to like only film me, like from you can't see anything else, and it's just me trying to convince them like, no, there's not actually the possibility to get a job, move to New York, and so be working there already in the space of 2.5 days. We need to put some more time in here. Okay, that's my campaign.
That would be a funny spoof YouTube channel.
Anybody who wants me to become Keeper of the Timeline, message Showtime now. And I will promise you I will make a video diary if I get that job. So go message Showtime. Tell them now.
But I feel like Sophie's, when she's woken up, I don't know what in her dream has possessed her to be like, I'm going to break up with Finley.
Yeah.
Like in the real life, she goes back to real life and there's like literally nothing that Finley's done to deserve a breakup.
It's like one of us waking up and be like, I had a dream that I let Miss G make all my decisions for me. And then just wake up and be like, okay, G, it's you, baby. You're up. Let me know. What am I doing today? And giving her 2 options on a piece of paper. And she like walks on one piece of paper and I'm like, okay, G has spoken. Like, who wakes up and is like, oh, I had this hallucination or dream. Let me just enact it in the real world.
I had a dream that like I was this little mouse being trodden on and wasn't allowed to speak. And now I'm standing up for myself, world. Except for there's nothing happening like that in real life.
Yeah.
Except for literally Finley comes in like the best girlfriend ever, being like, hey, I've like, been independent today and I've come to realize that we should do our own things and like not have to be codependent and do everything together. And like, this is great. It's literally exactly what Sophie wants.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, P.S. I bought a car all by myself. You didn't even have to come with me.
And she's like, bye, bitch.
I know. And it was like, what? It was so harsh, Ty.
Well, I've been saying for months now, I thought Finley and Sophie were going to break up, and here we are.
I mean, I'm happy about the breakup because I don't like them together. They have zero chemistry.
No, I don't either.
And also, this opens the door for Danley.
But I'm bummed because I feel like it messed up their friendship.
I know they had such a good friendship.
It seems like Sophie just doesn't even want to be around. Like,
yeah, they had so much fun hanging out when they worked on the Ellen show. When they worked on the Alice show. And they were always like zooming around in the golf cart and they're getting each other's coffees and like being wing people to each other. And I'm like, that was fun. Why'd they ruin that?
And even though from like that very first pilot episode, Sophie was kind of like rude, like, "Oh, you're so dumb" all the time to Finley.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
But
right.
but it came across as more like a, "Hey, we're really close friends and we can say
Yeah,
these
like
kind of things."
charming, like
But now it's just like she literally thinks she's too good for Finley, and
yeah.
I can't even see a friendship after this because the way that
Yeah,
she's
no,
acting
no,
towards
no.
her is like
And
it's like she
apparently
has no feelings for her at all. Like no
yeah. And
chemistry,
apparently
no
Finley like won't let
anything.
her speak and puts her down all the time and and she can't be herself around her.
The only reason it's been quote unquote the Finley show in the recent past is because she's literally going through rehab and working on herself. Like
Yeah.
to make yourself better, not for yourself, but also for all the people around you, which should make it like way less trauma than when you're an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And Sophie totally pushed her to that too.
But what's the interesting part will be like, what's the living situation going to be now? Don't they live together,
Yeah.
right? With
Yeah.
Micah and Maribel, supposedly.
End of the episode, Sophie and Finley break up, and then Tess and Shane. And I did say that I thought this was going to happen too, about why Tess and Shane would get back together because Tess's mom would die. So yeah, I guess she's done on the show too. I don't know. I guess it's just the way they like put these press announcement out about Sherry Jaffe, Joey Lauren Adams, and the woman who played Tess's mom. They made it sound like they were going to be in like, I don't know, like 6 to 8
Yeah,
episodes,
like they were like
but
big,
it was
huge guest
2.
stars of the season. Yeah, they were like any other guest star.
Yeah, and Sherry Jaffe, I mean, as I was saying before, she is coming back. It must be like episodes 8 and 9 because Shane's not in episode 7. So I doubt Sherry Jaffe's going to turn up without Shane. And see if they have Sherry fucking Jaffe in the finale. They're in post right now for the end of the season. And everybody thinks that like they've finished. They haven't actually finished. I spoke to Monica yesterday, who is Marja's assistant, and because like they're obviously off for Christmas, they are actually still in post and will be until pretty close to when the episode airs. So I really hope that they are just making sure this is the longest, most complete, most amazing finale ever, even though I do.
Somehow I don't think that's happening.
So that's why I'm still making my gripes known. Timeline, lighting, hair out of face. So
fix it.
Yeah.
So Shane runs up and like she says, I've been hanging on to this part of me for a very long time, and I'm scared to let that go because I don't know who I am without it. And I'm thinking, like, has Shane talked about her past at all? Like, with anyone?
Yeah, no.
Do her partners, like, know about her past? And
probably not.
I think it was only Carmen.
And, by the way, this episode would have been a perfect opportunity to bring her
back. Oh, don't even get me started.
Yep.
Like they could have had Carmen in the thing, and then she runs off to try and find Carmen in real life. Done.
Or at least to, like you said, like at least to apologize for her.
Oh yeah, just have her be in the dream sequence.
Well, and like you mentioned, Sherry Jaffe, like that was the whole thing with Carmen. Like she cheated on Carmen with Sherry.
But if she's back, it's like, well, what has Shane even learned from this hot drug trip? Nothing.
Well, that's why I was reading like her history, because I couldn't like remember how it all went down. And so like Shane saw her dad, like she had reconnected with her dad and her little brother, and then saw her dad cheat on his wife, and he was basically like, well, you're me, and like this is who we are. And that's why she left Carmen at the altar, basically. Because basically saying like, you can't change and you're going to hurt her. So she ran before she could cheat on her again and F everything up. But as we see, nothing's changed in all these years. So yeah, therapy. She
could have just been with Carmen this entire time.
We all need therapy.
But she does ask Tess to like give her a second chance, which I don't know what, like if her mom hadn't died, or I don't know, either way, like what do you think Tess's answer would be?
She probably would give her a second chance, I reckon.
I was leaning towards the other way. I don't know, maybe it's my own bias coming in. Once a cheater, always a cheater.
And Tess has like told her that too. Tess has told her like that she shouldn't trust her. Then she also said in the last episode, like, do you even want to change? So I don't know if she would believe like, okay, she really wants to change now, but can she? You know, or like how long is this going to last? I don't know. Tess seems more more so than other people, I think, to like kind of put her foot down and like not allow Shane back in. But so maybe this is what this vulnerability of having her mom pass is what she needed to like, you know, overcome her own instincts.
Yeah.
So Dana tells Alice she has to let her go, and then we see Alice go home and she has the box of Dana's stuff.
Oh, my heart.
No, we see
I feel
this
it in my
scene,
heart.
You are my
And that
sunflower.
song kept playing through the whole thing. I was like,
You
oh,
are my
I was like,
sunshine.
too soon, Showtime.
too soon, Showtime.
Fuck you, Showtime. No, I saw lots of people like, oh my god, she kept the flower. That was like obviously a super, super sad scene, but Leisha Haley fucking killed it in the original.
Yeah.
Fucking killed it.
And Alice comes to the same conclusion we came to. She sees the book that she wrote and realizes that, oh hey, Tom's about the only person who hasn't met Dana who knows her because of everything she talked about while she was writing the book. And then she sends him a text, which is a little bit better than like a you up text. It's a you around text.
No rainbow emoji. And that was the episode.
Mm.
So, overall thoughts, opinions, feelings, scores out of 10.
Positive because we're actually continuing or revisiting storylines instead of just dropping them cold, which is what the show likes to do. And we're actually, even though Chris did say it was a little like stagnant, it feels like character growth because at least they're examining their emotions, which again they don't usually like to do. So props for that. I don't know, I'm thinking maybe a 7 or so.
Yeah, 7. I was going to say 7.
Yeah,
the actual quality of the musical numbers,
the songs themselves weren't great
to other musical episodes. It's not fantastic, but I still liked it for what it was, and I liked the smaller cast size and the amount of time we got to spend with Alice and Shane.
I feel exactly the same way, pretty much. I loved the Alice and Shane stuff, and it just it's so frustrating because we're not going to get that in 7 or 8 because one of them is missing from each episode, and then by episode 9 Bette and Tina are back. Ooh, dealing with me that day is going to be a lot.
That would be like the day Carmen came back, if she ever came back.
Fucking that day. I'll have so much to talk about.
Title could be the Bette and Tina show, and then everyone else's name little tiny underneath.
If I'm completely honest, I just don't think it was necessary to do a musical because I see musicals. Well, I'm just not a music person, first of all, but the fact that they're doing this in the 3rd season, 6th episode, like this is what shows do their 6th or 7th season when they have 20, 22, 24 episodes a season, because really nothing from this episode is going to carry over except probably the Finley and Sophie breakup and the Tess and Shane thing. And it's just frustrating because like 10 episode seasons need to be tight, compact, like bubbling over, filled with character development, storylines, chemistry, all that stuff, and you have it. It's literally sitting there ready for you. You have characters, you have actors, your fans have been there since day one because they're already built in from the original, and we just want good overarching season-long storylines where you know this is what the characters started off like, this is where they're going, this is their goal, this is how they're going to achieve it, and it's taking place over the season, not just flitting from one episode to another and having an entire 1/10 of the season literally a song and a dance about stuff that's not going to matter next week and certainly didn't matter last week. And I wish that if they really felt they had to do this, that they would have made it like a one-off, you know, I don't know, something in someone's head has a bad dream, or they waited down the line at seasons later that they can earn this if they've told the story, like the good stories we want to hear, because it just is. And to also I don't know, the only people that I can really feel solidly connected to is Shane and Alice right now, and it's even more frustrating knowing that we're not going to have anything for like the next 2 episodes look super fillery too. Yeah.
Should make for some fun episodes for us.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that was the episode. And overall, I think we all agree like around 7 out of 10, but probably the musical wasn't really necessary. I mean, everybody's super talented, obviously, like that. Anybody who says otherwise, like they don't have their eyes and ears switched on, but we can see that in acting ways too, if they give them something good to do on screen and they can really get into these roles, because I think sometimes the actors must feel the exact same way, like, oh, just another week of the same, I'm in my few little scenes and that's it.
I was gonna say, if this had been an episode like in the original series, I feel like you would have had those 3 characters go on their like ayahuasca trip, and you would have had the like dream sequences and stuff, but without all the music, and they would have been more concise, and then you would have switched back and forth between them there and the other characters like out in the light of day in Los Angeles doing something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like if anybody has something to do, like that's where they drive the whole episode. Like there's not really like concurrent like A storyline, B storyline, and even so, like it's just this week to week, like nothing is connected, and there's no over, like I say this every week, but tell me what people's storylines are this season. Like everybody's just finding the one, that's it. Because like Joey Lauren Adams came on for like, what was that for?
I don't know. I want to be like, has anyone who works on the show ever worked on another show before, ever? Because it doesn't feel like it. Like can you name any other show that's been set up like this? like you said, there's no like A storyline and B storyline even here. Like it's just, I don't know.
And literally all these guest actors who are there for like 2 weeks, like I don't even care about some of the main characters on the show. I'm not going to care about guest stars. Like I just frustrated too. It's there, like it is there for the taking, and they are capable of it sometimes, but they just, again, I say this every week, it comes down to the insecurity around the OG, and they need to fucking get over it, because if they don't, there isn't going to be any more show. So I'm very interested to see what happens, especially over the next week, like social media wise, what's going to happen with the next 2 episodes. I think most people are like, oh, as well, like it's Christmas, Hanukkah, the holidays, so people may not be as active over these next 2 weeks. And then episode 9 comes out the 13th of January, and the finale, which as I said is still being finished, is coming out January 20th. So we will see what state we are then. But we'd love to know all your thoughts and opinions on the musical, because it's always interesting to get people's takes. I'm going to put a poll up on my community page, so go vote on it to see if you loved it, hated it, asking yourself why this is a musical. That will be an option. And yeah, as I said, we're recording this very early on Christmas Eve, so if you celebrate Christmas, I hope you have a great Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Hanukkah, I think, is still going on. Kwanzaa, any type of holiday, winter solstice, or just if it's a quiet weekend for you, I hope you have a great one too. We'll be back next week, of course, to go over episode 307, Little Boxes. And that gets us a week closer to episodes 9 and 10. And the week after, we get the trailer for episode 309. So hang in there, everyone. We'll see you back here next week. Make sure to check out Chris and Jess's site, The L Word Online, which I'll leave linked below in the show notes. Follow them on Instagram. Their ats are in there as well. And The L Word Online on Instagram. And follow Drinks at Dana's on Instagram. You can follow me too. I'll link mine below. And if you want to watch the video version of this, which I recommend you do because Miss G's in it, then you can find the link to the video in the show notes as well. Have a great end of the year, end of winter break, and we love you very much. And we'll see you back here next week. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye. Happy holidays.